What's the crack, lads? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to our Derby Day Classic player pack review, Barcelona versus Real Madrid. We are going to be doing Real Madrid first, and then we will get to Barcelona in a separate video because I want to go in depth. A lot of people asking me to go in depth on maybe two of the players in here. There are two standout players per pack. I would say that Fati and Araujo are probably the best picks in the Barca pack. And then we've also got a centre forward head-to-head in Lewandowski and Benzema. And then in the Real Madrid pack, which we'll be doing today, in this video, Valverde and Rudiger are fantastic players that I want to kind of get into. Especially if you're a newcomer and you're looking to pick up these player packs, I definitely think there's a lot of key points to look at with these players. So we are going to start with Real Madrid. We are going to start with Benzema. He goes to a 96 overall. He's got excellent stats. He's got excellent player skills, unwavering form. Pretty much everything you could possibly want apart from speed he has. So I think that he's a good centre forward. But to be honest, with the way that the online is at the moment, I don't think that he's going to be somebody that you really use, especially because he is a deep line forward. So I am working on a video per play style for every player. You can see there under Benzema's name, if you are a newcomer, there's a lot of new people playing the game. You can see there in the pink writing that his play style is how he actually acts on the pitch with his AI. So Benzema is a deep line forward. So that obviously changes up his card and how we'll train him, right? So we're over here on Efootball DB. We've kind of maxed out every stat that we possibly want. I think the key for me here is because of him being a deep line forward. I want him to be, very offensive and really good finishing. I think 88 in the finishing is quite decent. I think for a centre forward that is not that fast, I think it's pretty much, if you can't score with an 88 rating there, and you're going to get the boost sometimes when he's on form as well, up to maybe 90. I think that 90 or 88, anything above 88 is going to be enough, to finish with. We've also got the tight possession and ball control that are 87 and 84 for ball control and tight possession, which is quite decent. We've also pumped in a bit into his passing as well. Because he doesn't have one-touch pass in his player skills here, we do want to get that one-touch pass style going even without that player skill, which means we have to boost up his passing to at least a 78. So we've just rounded it up to 79. And then the rest of his stats, are pretty average. I think with the way the gameplay is, I don't think that you're going to be playing Benzema if you want to be, winning a lot of games, because he will miss chances and there are better options than him here. Now, this card is actually very, very similar to his standard card. Like, if you look at his standard card, he literally is just -1 in all of the attack stats, which is, barely anything because he's got an extra level to go. And he's also got -3 in heading. So realistically, lads, right, if you were to train up the standard version of Benzema, you're going to get a card that is identical to this card here. So that, do with that what you would like. Obviously, you will need an extra point or two to put into team playstyle. These players here with the El Clasico pack are set at 90 with the team playstyle, so you don't need to worry about making him fit with your squad or manager. But the standard version of Benzema is pretty much identical to this, especially with the player skills and all that. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you are thinking of spinning for Benzema, you don't really need to, in my opinion. That's just me. I don't think you need to spin if you are looking for this version of Benzema. Next up, we have got Valverde, who is probably my favorite player of the pack and one of my favorite players to use in the game. Now, I have multiple versions of this guy. He's insane, man. He's insane. I know that there is a couple of better players than him there that kind of like come to the fore sometimes, and I don't like coming up against Valverde. But you do have a couple of similar players like Goretzka. You have a couple of similar players like Barella, and a couple of guys that can do a lot on the pitch, and you can train him up in multiple ways, right? So Valverde actually has 26 levels to go. He's got every player skill that you could want. Long range shooting, long range curler, acrobatic finishing for a centre mid is very, very important if you're getting into the box with corners and, volleys and interceptions. But then defensively, he's also got interception and fighting spirit. And then, passing, he's got one-touch passing, true passing. So the only thing he's really missing here is a couple of dribbling skills, which you don't really need because his dribbling stats go fairly high, right? So this is how we've trained up one version of Valverde. He goes to a 96 overall. Insane player skills, as we mentioned there. And then he literally has every stat that you could possibly want, 85 or over, right? For this position. 85 aggression, 86 defensive engagement, 85 ball control, low pass, speed, acceleration, And then he's got 89 stamina as well. Now, depending on your playstyle, because there's no one size fits all, depending on your playstyle, if you play quick counter or you play a lot of one-touch passing, because he has one-touch pass here, you probably can get away with this a little bit lower if you wanted to. I would always keep this passing skill or passing stat at like maybe 82, 83. I will do a video on why soon, but you know, if you are looking for a big passer and somebody that can just, you know, pass a lot of really nice balls into space and stuff like that, with the way that V2.4's passing is gone a little bit chaotic at the moment, you definitely could boost that up a little bit and have him less of an engine, right? So you could actually take away a couple of these. You'll still have 87 stamina and 83 speed. You could put one into that, and then obviously you could put one into aerial strength. You'll still get your 96 overall. But I genuinely think, lads, you know, that you'll have enough in the passing there. You don't need aerial strength. So I do think that having, you know, 2 into that is probably the key to get his stamina up as high as you possibly can. You still have your defensive stats. There's multiple ways of training him. You know, obviously, if you don't dribble the ball a lot, if you do a lot of... I think dribbling is the most important stat now in the game, personally speaking. But if you don't dribble a lot, you can pump in another into, you know, defending, or you could pump in another into your acceleration to bring that up to 86 acceleration with 86 aggression. And then, you know, you're not going to get the tackling up to 80 unless you really take away, you know, more of the card stats there. You could do that as well and get a 95. But I genuinely think that, you know, what you want with Valverde is, you know, I won't say pace, but what you want with him is you want him to be a bit of an engine that can bring the ball forward in dribbling and passing. I think those stats, no matter which way you train him up, are going to be very viable. Next up, we've got Rudiger. Now, I want to show you, right, when we hover over Rudiger, this is the best version of Rudiger that they ever introduced. And I think that this version of him that they have here, this one, the Classico pack, is probably better, lads. It's probably better, right? Now, if we take a look at the Germany pack here, this Germany pack is slightly better with stats that don't really matter that much. He's got +3 acceleration but -3 tackling, so it's kind of one of the other. It's 6 of one and a half dozen of the other. There's no real difference. There's been multiple versions of Rudy, and all of these cards seem to be extremely similar, right? So when we look at this card, he's got 81 tackling and 84 aggression. The nominating contract one has 78 tackling and 84 aggression. The Germany pack one has 78 tackling and 87 aggression. So it's kind of pick, you know, if you have a different version of Rudy, if you have this nominating one that was free, eventually, you know, you got the Germany one or whatever. If you've got multiple versions of him, I would say that he's probably not worth spinning for. But then if you are looking for one of the best centre-backs in the game, it's hard to go anywhere, you know, past Rudy. Like, he's just so good, man. He's perfect height, perfect weight, perfect animations, excellent defense stats, excellent strength and speed. And as you can see here, when we train him up, you are going to get an absolute monster at the back, right? He's a destroyer play style as well. He's got everything that you could possibly want, apart from blocker with the playing skills, and his form is unwavering. So I definitely think him and Valverde are the 2 picks of the team pack. With this one, I genuinely think they're absolute monsters. There's my actual ultimate training guide with him: 93 tackling, 96 aggression, 87 defensive awareness, and then you've got 78 speed with 86 jump and also 72 acceleration, which is more than enough. You don't need acceleration for the defenders now with the way that the game is playing. And then last but not least, we don't need to spend too long on Rodrigo, because we're mostly looking at Rodrigo as a super sub, right? He's on C form this week, which is a bit of a pity. You're not going to get the full, you know, the full bonus of him. But yeah, he goes up to a 93 overall, which is the same as the player of the week version here. Now, he does go slightly higher than that, obviously, but I think that this is the best version of him. You got 91 dribbling, 91 acceleration, 88 balance, 88 speed, 86 ball control and tight possession, and then you've got 75 finishing and 72 curl. That's all you really need for a cut-in right winger. You know, he's got everything that you could possibly want. True passing, first-time shot. He doesn't have one-touch pass, which is a small bit of a pity, but I do think that everything else is on point with this guy. So, yeah, that is it for me, lads. We will have him compared to Ansu Fati in the next episode with this, where we'll be taking a look at the Barcelona pack. But until next time, lads, I will be back quite soon. That is it for the Real Madrid pack here. And any questions, get in touch in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'll be back later, lads, with some more videos. Peace.